The very first artist that I worked with was the Notorious B.I.G.
What?
Yep. And my mother, she allowed me to go out on the road at 15 and travel. And I was out back smoking, and these two girls in this group that was out didn't have some kind things to say about me smoking cigarettes. And fast forward, that group was Destiny's Child. So that is how I met Beyonce, Kelly, Latavia, and LaToya initially. And then fast forward, Kelly Rowland's one of my best friends on this planet. Shout out to B. B is the homie too. So
every artist that comes onto the show is like, Phil. Yeah, because remember that time, Phil. And so I'm like, who is Phil? 2005, you helped reunite SWV.
Yes, that was that conversation, I will tell you, it's one I will never forget. Because it was yelling, it was crying, it was...
There was this show that came out not too long after that called R&B Divas. What has reality taught you during reality television? What's the biggest lesson that it's taught you? Welcome to Vault and Powers Talk, so we don't just scratch the surface, we dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential change makers. I'm your host, Brandy Harvey. Before I introduce my guest for today, I need you to go ahead and do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss your daily dose of inspiration and motivation. But without further ado, I get to introduce this man sitting across from me who gave me a new bio because he got things popping, okay? Before he came in here, Phil Thornton is a partner in Insignia Collab, a premier music, film, and touring holding company where he brings to life tours, festivals, and documentaries of some of the world's biggest artists. Over the course of his career, Phil has led the management teams for artists including Faith Evans, Kenny Lattimore, Michael B. Jordan, and Michelle Williams, just to name a few. Phil has been the creative force behind many successful collaborations, including Mariah Carey's Fall in Love at Christmas, Kirk Franklin and Lil Baby's We Win, and partnering with Pharrell Williams for his Voices of Fire Choir, which was chronicled in a Netflix documentary series. Phil has made his mark with successful television hits like Surviving Compton, Dre, Suge, and Miss Chalet on the Lifetime Network, TV One hits, Lisa Ray, The Real McCoy, R&B Divas of Atlanta, and R&B Divas of LA. In May 2023, his series The One, a dating competition hosted by Kirk Franklin and his wife Tammy, premiered on the TV One network. Thornton has also served as a director and executive producer of several episodes of TV One's popular series, Uncensored. As the host of the We Sound Crazy podcast, Phil has weekly conversations with his co-hosts, talking to trailblazing artists, singers, and songwriters discussing the music of today, yesterday, and the music of tomorrow. In his latest venture, Phil serves as the executive producer of the critically acclaimed documentary Never Too Much, chronicling the life of the legendary singer Luther Vandross. Phil believes he is fearless because God is on his side. Vault and Powers Talks welcome visionary, music executive, television and film producer, podcast host, and man of faith, Phil Thornton, to the show.
Wow. Thank you. I'm going to take that and just everywhere I go. That's an amazing introduction, Brandy.
That is you.
God is good.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
I mean, what a career you have had. I mean, it spans the times. Yeah. I mean, early 2000s growing up, you grew up in Norfolk.
Shout out to 757.
The 757, y'all from the 757, y'all be legit repping. Listen.
Man, we love that's the home state right there, hometown right there. Like that made me in my formative years, it's just I learned so much. So I always got love for VA, always.
You grew up in Virginia, but by the age of 12, you knew what you wanted to do. You had 3 internships by the time you were like 15 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy, but true.
Yeah.
I literally just saw the woman who gave me my start in this business. Her name is Candy Eastman.
Yeah.
And Candy is in Houston now at the Radio 1 affiliate out there. But at 12 years old, I used to just, even before 12, I used to listen to music every day, all day. I'd get out of school, listen to music. I would try to push them in school to like, can we pull the TV in there? Because that was back during the time we had to pull the TV into the classroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I just love music. And I would watch the Video Soul and Rap City and Yo MTV Raps. And I just love, but I would listen to the radio religiously.
Yeah.
And so one day I just said, man, I'm going to call the radio station. I want to see what this is all about. And Candy Eastman, I called her on the request line. It was 623-0103 was the number, right?
Wow.
And so I'm introducing myself. I'm like, I'm Phil Thornton. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. I'd love to come meet you and come check out the station. And I'm like, I don't know, back then, I'm just playing it back in my mind. But she was like, sure, just set it up. Call the business office, 627-5800, and was like, just set it up. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Like, let's do it. So I scheduled it, took the visit, and I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm a child. I didn't know how much went into all of this. Like, if you even see this right here at home, like, it's so much that goes into just production and, radio and television.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. And so seeing the sales department, the promotions department, the production department, etc. And I said to Candy, hey, can I come back next week? And next week turned into next week, and next week turned into next week. And the summer of that year, I was interning at WOWI Norfolk.
I mean, you were writing reviews. You were interviewing people by the time you're 13. Old Dirty Bastard, Monica. These are the people you're interviewing at 13 years old.
Mad Rhythms was my second internship, which is a regional magazine. And that's where I interviewed ODB, Monica, Adina Howard, who was one of my favorites at that time.
I bet she was. Listen, y'all know, Adina had them in a chokehold, baby.
Yeah, so that was good. But it was just a new experience. And I was just fearless. But I love to write. Math has been a little bit of my struggle. I can count my money, but just like algebra and geometry, but like English and just writing was always just something I enjoyed. So at 13, working with Miss Yasmin Sherez, another amazing Black woman that paved the way for me. And I'm always just truly grateful for her, because I don't know what she saw in this 13-year-old me, and I just saw a blog that she did, the intern that changed my life recently, and because I had no idea. And so I met a lot of amazing people. I was able to, she just sent me issues of some of my old works. So it's just to read it like, I wrote this? Like, this is crazy. And then the third internship was when I was 15 at Arista. Yeah.
I mean, by the time you're 15 years old, you've done more than most people who are like college students trying to get into the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. I that's why I tell people all the time, like, you can't tell me God's not real, because it's just what I went through just as a child and just coming from humble beginnings and single parent house. My mother worked 3 jobs.
Yeah. And
so just, to provide and put me through private school and just, that was one thing. And then coming home to neighborhoods that weren't so great, just knowing that I just always felt that protection.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful. But it's just like, those internships just kept me out of the streets.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. I mean, it set you up on a path, because you go into radio, urban contemporary radio, and you're in college.
Yeah.
So you are really the man, on campus.
Because I was in the business at that point. By the time I got to college, I was in the business like 7 years. And my mother, shout out to my mom, she allowed me to go out on the road at 15 and travel.
Really?
Yes, I was on the road. So the very first artist that I worked with was the Notorious B.I.G.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
True story. And that was we went to Portsmouth, Virginia. That night, I don't know what Big saw, but he's like, we got to get out of here. Let's go to IHOP. We'll get some food. And I'm like young. I'm like, the first time I'm with Biggie. We at the club. But I'm so grateful that whatever he saw, we left because there was a shootout that night in the club.
Wow.
So I never told my mom until years later that I was even in the club with Biggie, and there was a shootout. But again, like being out on the road with a young Usher and Outkast and Monica and Faith and Total. I just saw one of the members of Total recently. It just took me back. So it was like at 15, the label told me, I can say it now, I had to lie about my age. They was like, don't say your age. Don't say their age. So they wanted people to believe that I was 18 at least.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way no one's believing this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was 15 and traveled the world, mostly in that mid-Atlantic, Northeast region.
Yeah.
And the gentleman who was like my guardian on the road, who was like the mid-Atlantic rep, a guy named Craig Davis, who I'm still in touch with to this day. He's just, again, another blessing, another person who helped me on the journey. And I'm extremely grateful because, again, 15, I'm on the road with rappers and Mace and Locks and all these, like, for real, at 15.
But it is building your relational equity, it's building that,
Yeah.
but it's building so much character in your work ethic, because that has really and truly been the basis of your career. I mean, your relationships are like stellar. So much so, like, this is how I know, because I'm a fan. Phil don't know, I be watching the We Sound Crazy podcast. You know what I'm saying? I be watching the show. And when I watch the show, every artist that comes onto the show is like, Phil. Yeah, because remember that time Phil struck the deal. Phil was the one. Phil was the one. Phil was the one. Everybody says this on the show. And so I'm like, who is Phil? Like, what Phil be doing? Phil got the sauce.
Hey, I just walked into it, like, and just really, I'm telling you, it was not to get over spiritualize the situation, but I really believe like this is divine for me.
Yeah.
This is really, that's why I kind of fast forward years later, I wanted to work in gospel and faith. It was my way to attempt to repay God for how great he's been to me.
Wow.
So it's just, when I think about just those early years and just all of the opportunities and the people I met, as you talked about on the show, these people kind of years later, all genres of music, because I worked in all genres, it's like they actually have played a small part in some of these careers, and just the people I met along the way, like that connected to the next. So, for example, when I was 18, I think I was 18 at this point, and I was out on the road with the group Next, and who had Too Close and Butter Love,
Yeah.
and they were the opening act for Boys to Men. And so I'm out back, and I think, this is back in when I was a rough teenager. I smoked cigarettes. I'm telling on myself right now. And I was out back smoking, and these two girls in this group that was also out on the road, that was the opener before Next, basically, didn't have some kind things to say about me smoking cigarettes. And fast forward, that group was Destiny's Child. So that is how I met Beyonce, Kelly, Latavia, and LaToya initially. And then fast forward, we've all done, Latavia did R&B Divas with me. I've done LaToya's Uncensored. Kelly Rowland's one of my best friends on this planet. And shout out to B. B is the homie too. So it's like, but I met them doing, it was just how it's all connected. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
because you was outside being smoking.
I shouldn't have been doing. Don't smoke. Don't smoke. It's horrible. And if they basically, again, I didn't even know. I was just like, I don't know what I was thinking then. I was like, why am I smoking?
But every kid who was born in the 80s, 80s, and you grew up, you hit a couple cigarettes at some point, and a Black and Mild or two,
Yes.
Definitely,
Yes.
you did that on the walk home from school.
Yes.
You definitely did that. But I heard this story, and John Murray, who's a friend of yours, he tells the story. He tells the story of speaking about your relationships and how strong they are. 2005, you helped reunite SWV.
Yes. That was whew.
Tell us, how did you do that? Because I feel like, Phil, you got this magic about you. You got this magic wand that you carry that's invisible. And you kind of weave that wand around and things happen.
2005 was the year, and Coco, who's the one of the members of SWV, had just moved to Virginia. Now, I'm living in New York at this time, but she is the one why I tell people all the time why I even worked in gospel. Like, it was when I realized the business of it, but she was the one who initiated it. She called me, said, hey, I'm working on a gospel record, and I want you to be my manager. I was like, why me? I don't know anything about gospel, the gospel music business. I know some gospel musically because I listened to Kirk Franklin and Kim Burrell at that point, but I was like, why me? And so I said, okay, I'll help you out. But I said, what's going on with you in the group? Oh, no, I'm not doing that no more. It was just, that was a thing of the past in her eyes. I was like, no, I think you can do both. And she had at the time thinking since she was going gospel, that she didn't want to look like she was confused and doing both. But she hadn't spoken with Taj or Lily for some time. Taj had married Eddie George. Lily was working for a company and just kind of had a regular 9-to-5 job. And John Murray, shout out to John Murray. John said, hey, you know what? I got a contact on Lily, and I think let's get them on the phone and let's figure this out. And John and I met during my time at Norfolk State. So we both were on the radio at WNSB, Hot 91, and he was on had an afternoon drive show, and John was my entertainment news reporter.
Oh, wow.
So that's how we met and connected and became really good friends. But back to SWV, we set up a call with the ladies, and there was a radio show in LA, The Beat, I think it was. And I think it was like this whole set with like Teddy Riley and some other people, and then Teddy wanted them to do some dates. And I was like, y'all leaving money on the table. But before we got to the money in the business, I needed them to get the sisterhood intact because it was so fractured. And that conversation, I will tell you, it's one I will never forget, because it was yelling, it was crying, and it was just, but what I realized is their issues weren't really their issues. It was the people in between them that kind of played them against each other and manipulated each of them.
Wow.
And which ultimately led to the dissolution of that group. But fortunately, John Murray and I, reunited them in 2005, and here they are, almost 20 years later, out touring.
Got on their own tour,
Yeah, Queens of R&B tour, multiple television shows, and doing really, really well for them. I just saw them in New York about a week ago. I was looking.
I mean, you have definitely, you talk about the relationships and how you've been able to be this bridge, not even knowing that you were going to be a bridge. It speaks to, how you've also been able to bridge yourself into other areas, including television, because there was this show that came out not too long after that called R&B Divas. And what a time to be alive, Phil, to see R&B Divas Atlanta and R&B Divas LA. Yeah.
Grateful for the opportunity. Extremely grateful for Faith Evans. Faith is the one who brought me the idea.
Oh, wow.
So Faith and Nikki were partnering on
Nikki
this concept.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're partnering on the concept, but Faith and I were friends. I didn't know Nikki that well. And so Faith brought it to me because we were, when I lived in Los Angeles, we were, super close and lived like maybe 5 to 7 minutes away from each other. And she was like, I got this idea. And it's really cool. Is Nikki came to me and I kind of fleshed it out, but I think it's something that needs to be done. And so we were able to make it happen. And TV One, one of my other shows came to a close with Lisa Ray, and so it created this void, and the network needed something immediately.
I will say this: Lisa Ray, The Real McCoy, was at the time TV One's highest rated reality show on the network. Yeah. She did numbers for the network. Yeah.
They also aired the show on E, and it was a network. Do you remember Style Network?
Yeah.
Style was around. So it aired on all 3 networks, but you're right. The numbers were huge. But there was some challenges with the contract renegotiations with Lisa Ray. And so the network kind of drew a hard line, and Lisa Ray said, hey, if you can't do this, then I got to go. I got to walk. Yeah. And that created an opportunity and space for R&B Divas.
Yeah. What has reality taught you doing reality television? What's the biggest lesson that has taught you? Every time somebody reality comes over and sits in the seat, we had Sonia Richards-Ross who was on the show, and I asked her about her time on The Housewives. What lessons did she learn? She was like, how long you got?
That's quite a bit of time. But I will say I'm grateful for my experience. In reality, I met some amazing people, cast and crew, but reality is not necessarily reality. It's not real. And so with R&B Divas specifically, I appreciate the fact that these amazing women who had careers in R&B music wanted to share their lives and their journeys. And that was probably one of the least produced shows that I've ever worked on. So they really, and I would say the Mans, I did that for BET, David and Tamla Mann series. Like, we really turned the cameras on and just let it go. R&B Divas, when it took a negative turn, is when I was like, this is not what I signed up for. I don't want to be a part of perpetuating negative stereotypes for Black women or Black people, for that matter. So at some point, when it got to be season 3 on the Atlanta side and season 3 of LA, there were conversations on how do we just keep it going, but it just took a left turn on both seasons. And I was like, I think we should, we should leave this where it is. And, maybe there's a time to revisit it. And I feel like messages daily on social media from people like, yo, when is R&B Divas coming back? When can we get? And it's like, some things you got to just leave in the vault and leave in there and just kind of hey, maybe it'll work out one day. But I'm so in a different space now and want to tell different types of stories. It's just like, but I'm grateful. So reality, to answer your question, it can be quite an experience. And shout out to all my friends that do realities, Mona Scott Young and Carlos King and some others that, that's their world. And I respect that being their world. And Datari Turner and Tara Long, some of my friends. But I'm like, man, It's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for you.
Not for me. I want to do more, just continue more documentaries, more biopics, even live music specials and things of that nature.
I love that because you're tracking with where I'm going with this, because film has really been your passion.
Yes.
It's been a love of yours, and you have been able to touch many a great docu-film. And so one of those being Surviving Compton with about Michelet and her love with Dr. Dre and Suge.
Yes.
Yeah, it was quite the triangle.
And that was sparked when I did R&B Divas LA. Michelet was in the cast.
Because she was on the cast, yeah.
And so in between, like, when you're on set and you're setting up and the lighting and getting all the sound right, we would just be like, kind of sitting down to the side talking, and she would just share her journey and just telling me things. And I'm like, no way. No way. Oh, that happened? And she was like, and I said, yo, you should write a book. And she's like, nobody want no book from me. I said, actually, we're going to do a movie. So fast forward, after that first season, I remember being on Tom Joyner's cruise, and I saw Michelet, and I said, yo, let's go pitch this. And we went with our partners at Think Factory, Adam Reed, Leslie Greif, into Lifetime. We may have had a one sheet, and I said, Michelet, just tell them some of the stories. And she told them, and they bought it in the room.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, 2.3 million viewers it premiered to on the Lifetime Network, which, I mean, really was amazing, especially for that network, a cable network show. But now you get to tell other stories. So you're on Uncensored, you produce and direct on Uncensored, which is like some of my favorite shows on TV One. I mean, honestly.
Same.
Yeah, because I love the behind the music,
I love it. I love that Uncensored is special to me because it's nothing like having the individual tell their story in their voice. Yeah. So like I've done everyone from Shirley Ralph's episode to Tevin Campbell, and they all had something compelling and great to say. And it's just, I love, that's one of my favorite shows. I forget that I'm working. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, I get paid to do this. Like I just, like this is fun because it's just like sitting there having a conversation. Yeah. And it's one of my favorites. Like, really.
The stories are absolutely unbelievable because we hear the music and we're fans of the music, but then when we get the story behind the music, that's the part that we're like, yo, that was how Confunction made that. That was how that song really came about. That was how, all the things happened. But I'm so excited because I'm so excited for your new and latest documentary, Never Too Much. The Luther Vandross story. I mean, you're working with Jamie Foxx on that. You're bringing that Dawn Porter.
Dawn Porter. Can I just take a moment to celebrate Dawn Porter? We couldn't have done it without Dawn. We could not have done this project. First of all, it's amazing. I'm so proud. Just watching it, we premiered it at Sundance. And sitting there in the theater, watching it on the screen and just saying like, oh my God, I'm just like, but we couldn't have done it without Dawn. Dawn was the best pick. That was actually Jamie and Datari Turner, who's Jamie's business partner. That was their pick. They were like, man, we got the perfect person, the perfect filmmaker. And I said, I trust my brothers. So I was like, all right, cool, let's go. And that was the very last thing that I did before I left Sony, was set up that project. Wow. Yeah.
What is the one thing that viewers can really take away from the story of Luther Vandross? Because, I mean, we know him, iconic performer, his stage, I mean, live at Wembley, when he did Wembley is still one of my favorite. Like, I mean, Radio City Music Hall, live at Radio City Music Hall, House is Not a Home is like on rotation right now. Like, it's getting played, Phil, So what can people really learn about Luther Vandross by watching this documentary?
You're going to learn it's going to be a reminder for those that already know how incredible of a musician, producer, songwriter. You're going to be reminded, and we're going to take you down memory lane from the beginning, from birth. And we touched on everything. We some of his challenges with with his weight and other things, but we're very honest but yet respectful. So you'll really you'll see, like, for those that didn't know, he used to sing with David Bowie. For those that didn't know that Luther used to sing with Miss Roberta Flack. Like, it's just, you'll get to see a lot of Luther and just kind of the makings of this iconic individual that left us too soon. But I'm really proud of it because some of the performances are things that people haven't necessarily seen before, because we work closely with the family and the estate at Primary Wave, and of course Sony, who had all of the photos and audio just from different performances over the years. So it was just like we had access to so much.
Yeah.
And it was just like, how do we kind of just trim this down to be, to this period of this 70 minutes or however long it is.
Yeah.
But it was a labor of love, and I didn't mind. I still don't mind, even just everything we're doing to promote. And I remember when I called Mariah to be a part of it, because I was like,
she's in the documentary.
She's in the doc, and it was the quickest yes I've ever gotten from Mariah. I'll tell you that. I love her, but it was literally the quickest yes.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, MC, I need you. We're doing this. We're filming this. She was like, yes, just come here. I'm taping this billboard thing here. Get another sound stage right next door. I'll do it. Consider it done. I give you an hour. You don't have to pay for glam. We didn't have to pay for anything. She was just like, I want to honor my friend Luther Vandross.
Wow.
And so I was like, wow. And but that was the energy from everybody. Every call, like, it was without hesitation.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, it speaks to his life. And I think when you would listen to Whitney Houston talk about Luther Vandross, when you listen to all these great artists talk about, because what we fail to realize is he didn't just pop out. You told the story of him, being a background singer. Yeah. Most artists got their start being background singers.
Absolutely.
What was that movie, 8 Feet from Stardom? Documentary, 8 Feet?
No, was it 20 Feet?
20 Feet? 8 feet
yeah,
one of those.
Yeah, one of those.
It was some feet away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is that, he's such an icon, with the music that he left us, because, I mean, you grew up in the house on Saturday morning, and you know that you was cleaning the house, listening to Anita Baker,
absolutely.
Luther Vandross. I tell people all the time, Phil, sometimes when I be in a mood, when I be in my feelings, I be like, I need to put on Auntie Anita, and then I put on Uncle Luther.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's like your uncle and auntie. You know why? Because my mother played those records, and I fell in love. So it was like, that's a soothing voice for me. So when I feel like all out of sorts, I'm like, I need some Auntie Anita today. I need a little Uncle Luther.
No, I'm the same way. If you look at my playlist, arguably two of the most played artists are Anita and Luther. And just because, to your point, Saturday mornings, cleaning up in the house, but it was like, that was the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And so that's why this is such a full circle moment for me to actually be able to tell the story of Luther Vandross. Yeah. And of course, we got to do the biopic next. So that's we're having discussions about that now.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm. Who we think would play Luther though? Who you think could play Luther?
Jamie had a few names. I don't want to put him on blast, but he had a few names that I think actually could be really great. So we're in the process of having some early conversations to see, but we've got a couple names in mind.
Okay.
Like, one is, I know which one I would prefer, but I want to see how it shakes out. But I would say one was in Black Panther. I will say that.
One was in Black Panther. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah. We ain't getting nothing else, y'all. Y'all see how he did that. That was good, though, Phil. I see how you took us right to the edge.
Right to the edge.
You took us right to the edge, and you left us there.
But I just want more of those stories. Like, there's so many more documentaries I want to do, more biopics, because if we're not going to tell the stories.
Absolutely. Okay. Music-wise, because I feel like when I listen to the show, I feel like our playlists are kind of similar, Phil. I feel like, because, SWV, when they were on the show, you said Fine Time was one of your favorite SWV records. And I said, Phil got to know the cuts, okay? If he put in Fine Time. Then when Mickey Howard did the show, you said Baby Be Mine. I think I played Baby Be Mine out that day, because I said, you done reminded me of Baby Be Mine.
There's some greatness out here. But that music is just gives me a feeling. And that's what I look for with anybody I work with. Like, of course, you want them to sing and be, on perfect pitch if that's possible, and on key, obviously. But it's the feeling.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of artists I work with, some are not the greatest vocalists, but it's the feeling.
Yeah.
And so that's
who gives you that feeling when you look at artists today, or maybe somebody that you're currently working with? Who gives you that feeling?
Ooh. That feeling that I'm talking. Okay, I haven't had the pleasure of working with her, but when I tell you she's one of my favorites, that's Jasmine Sullivan. Yeah, I get that. One, she's an incredible vocalist. Yeah, let me start there. But the feeling, it's like the feeling that I got from Mary. Like, it was just that grit, that raw. But it was like, but Jasmine's just like, she's just out of this world with her vocals. But like that feeling, I love that feeling. Victoria Monet is one that I like what she's doing. Lucky Day, I get a good vibe and
Yeah,
it's good feel.
yeah.
But yeah, Jasmine's my favorite.
I would say when I listen to Hotels for the first time,
Yeah.
when I listened to that album for the very first time and I listened to it all the way through, I said, if she does not win a Grammy, she will have been robbed.
Yeah.
And the fact that she won that Grammy, I mean, Carly and I, my sister Carly and I were on one of our lives one day talking about that album because I think writing wise and the storytelling, I think what's missing so much in the music is the storytelling.
Agreed.
You know, of like Brian Michael Cox is on the show, and when you think about Just Be a Man About It, like how much of a story that song told, right? You was visually in there, like, why you calling me on the phone? Why you not at home? Right? All the things you like, where is it? You say you was hanging over your friends, but you got a lot on your mind, like all the things.
That's a
and
great
so,
song.
how do we get people to start getting back to the writing and the storytelling in the music?
One, Just Be a Man About It is an incredible song. I just saw Tony sing that in Vegas some weeks back. Incredible. B. Cox and Jonte, but the challenge is, and a lot of the major labels, which is why I'm excited about my new chapter, a lot of the major labels, they don't have people that are of the culture.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that doesn't mean you don't have Black people, just people that understand music and understand that feeling that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It just, there's not a lot of, everything is so data driven and what's trending on TikTok and what's on Reels and is this bubbling here? We'll go sign, this is already taken off. Instead of actually saying, no, we're gonna go sign this artist right here. We're gonna develop them. We're gonna put them on the road, put them in media training, et cetera, and vocal training. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And so as a part of that development process, you're putting them, okay, maybe let me try them with Brian Michael Cox. Let me try them with Camper. Let's try them with Rodney Jerkins or whomever to see where's the synergy.
Yeah.
Right now, labels don't have the patience, major labels.
Yeah.
And when you think about traditionally the history of music, a lot of the artists such as Miss Toni Braxton that we're celebrating to this day, they were developed by smaller independent companies. Tony was signed to LaFace, as was Usher, as was TLC, as was Donell Jones and Ciara and others.
I mean, L.A. Reid, though, he was, he was another Berry Gordy.
Absolutely. Yeah. L.A. told me, I always say, this was one of the biggest compliments I've ever received because he's like one of my idols and the people I've looked up to. L.A. Reid said, you remind me of the 32-year-old version of me. And I said, what does that mean? He said, but just because your energy and your excitement and your love for music and just your ability to succeed. But L.A., shout out to L.A. Reid. But L.A.
amazing memoir that he wrote.
Yes.
Yeah, Sing for Me.
But we need more L.A. Reids. We need more LaFace records. We need more Motown, more Quality Control, more Cash Moneys. That's where you think about Drake came from Young Money, which was under Cash Money.
Yeah.
When, just going over the history of time, Motown was responsible for everybody from Stevie Wonder to Marvin Gaye, all the way through Erykah Badu to
Rick James.
Rick James, but just a lot of them came from the more boutique labels. That's what's missing because the major labels just don't have the time.
Yeah,
they're essentially a bank. They're just there, okay, if it's moving, let's put more money on it and we'll monetize it. But they're not in the business of development anymore. It's just a different climate.
Yeah. You've left Capitol.
Yes.
You were senior vice president over at Capitol, and you've left to start your own holding company, Insignia.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love Capitol. Capitol was a great place. Michelle Jubelier was the chair and CEO. I had a lot of amazing women that have helped me on the journey. I'm telling you, when I tell you, she's another because rewind, when I lived in Los Angeles, I had a company and she was my attorney that wouldn't take my money. Now, Brandy, all attorneys, if they're going to do anything, they're going to take your money. She did every TV deal, every management deal for me and my partners and wouldn't take our money.
Wow.
And so fast forward, she became the chair and CEO of Capitol. So when she called, I said, of course I'll come.
Yeah.
I'm there. And then, she departed the organization earlier this year, and it just had me really reassessing a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? It's time to turn the page. I've done the corporate thing for like a decade and a half. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I've worked with some amazing people. I've made a lot of people rich. I've made a lot of people owners of their IP, rightfully so. I want artists owning their masters.
Yeah.
I want them to have their publishing. So I've made an impact in that way. So that was like all right, God, I feel like I've served my time. And if this is what's meant to be for next, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to see how I can raise this capital, this money, to basically start my own thing. And just me and my partners had a few conversations and the doors just started flying open. So Insignia is all things music. So we have a recorded music division that's home to everyone from Tamar Braxton on the mainstream side to Maverick City, who's incredible on the faith side. We have a publishing arm. We have a touring arm, which is Undivided. And my partner, Norman Jumphy, he is just a visionary and continues to just raise the bar on the touring side. And we've got some big announcements there. And then the latest addition to the Insignia fold is Three Diamonds. So that's myself and Trell Woodbury, who's an incredible producer as well. So we're combining forces to just build out all things television, film, scripted and unscripted. Working on a pretty big acquisition right now that will put us in the live events, music special space. So we've got a lot going on there. But Insignia, you remember this day here, like you're gonna be like, okay, I remember 4 years ago he told me he was gonna turn this into a $1 billion empire. We're gonna turn this into a multi-billion dollar empire.
I mean, you're fearless because you said you have God on your side.
Yeah.
And so I think the faith is what you keep betting on every time you turn the page into something new.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And my faith it just doesn't let me down because I have faith in this new venture. And, at first I was like, man, do I want to leave this nice corporate job and get in this nice bag No, but you know what? Shout out to the people at Capital and UMG. They were like, no, we want to keep working with you. We actually want to partner with your new company and be your first client to produce more documentaries and more projects. And so that was a blessing too, because again, that's a big first client.
Yeah, absolutely.
but also a testament to just relational equity that I've invested into the organization for years. So I'm grateful, but God has just been there at every turn. Even when I'm like, man, how this gonna work out? How are we gonna make it? It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then to be aligned with other people that are like also very much about their faith and their beliefs, and we can be bold. Like we ain't got to be hiding it. Like no, hey, God's been good to us. So
absolutely.
So this is again, we're going to be intentional on a lot of faith-based content on the TV and film arm. That's not the only thing we'll be doing, but the music side, we're going to have more, signings on that side as well beyond Maverick City. And but we're building. We're building, we're growing.
You might want to Vault Empowers Talks on your new platform.
I would love that.
Yeah, you never know. You might want that. We can talk about it.
Yeah, how about
offline.
that? How about that? How about that? How about that? I'm serious.
Phil, Phil, you better stop playing with me. I know this is our first time meeting. We only IG friends, but okay.
But it's that type of strategic partnership.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you have all these things going on. You're led by your faith. But one of the things that, really struck me is when you talked about your morning routine. Because your me time is scheduled.
Yes.
You have created a space where you have created quite a balance for you to be able to work at a high level, but also that you created boundaries that you set so you can have a personal life.
You have to. And I learned that the hard way by a little trial and error, because for so long I was so focused on I gotta get it. I'm just thinking but what I learned what's for me is for me. I don't need to. That balance and taking care of yourself and just I literally schedule my mornings so that I just block it out, and meditation, get you some cardio and get you just take care of yourself and just pray, clear your mind before I get on social media, before I turn on the TV. It's just, I got to really get centered. And even down to lunch breaks and things of that nature. I scheduled it. If it's not a lunch meeting, I would schedule a lunch meeting. We're going to talk about the future, right?
Yeah.
I would schedule that, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I just make sure that I'm just, even if I don't eat anything, or just taking time just to say, you know what, in between calls and meetings, let me take a break. Let me take a breather. Yeah. And just being intentional about taking more time, vacation-wise. Yeah. We work hard. We have to really take time for ourselves. It's just good for our mental health. And, talking to my therapist about just how to balance things better. And I'm learning every day how to improve there, but I'm being more intentional. Yeah. That's the thing about it. It's just, I don't want to be like someone that's, made all this money and then I'm leaving here at 50 or something just because of stress and not taking care of you. So I've been really, really, really intentional. I would say the last 8 years, about 8 years, is really making time for me. Yeah, and that's okay.
Have people been mad about it?
I don't care. no, but have some people because people. I'll put my phone on do not disturb mode and some people are kind of like, man, I was calling, I was texting. Yeah. Oh, I got it.
Yeah. You said everything's not a 911. It can wait till tomorrow.
It's not. Yeah. Everything. Some people will make it their 911, your 911, but right? Right? So it's not always the case. And so it's okay to say, okay, we can deal with this in the morning. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. It's not, nothing's going to happen negatively overnight. No one's getting locked up. No one's going to leave the planet because of this. It's like, no, it's okay. Yeah. And so I've just learned to be respectful, but communicate that even to my team, but also to my partners. Like, hey, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that you talk about therapy and you've been open about your healing journey. Mm-hmm. And I love when you high-powered executives come and sit over on the seat and you talk about the tools of therapy. Randy Hazelton was on the show, franchiser Randy Hazelton, and he talked about, scheduling his time for therapy and going multiple times a week. And I think as a Black man, for you to talk openly about how it's giving you tools to not only reconcile you for your business and your business dealings, but also you got a lot of tools to help you reconcile with your father along the way.
Yeah, that was, that's still, we're in a much better place now because my father wasn't around growing up and I didn't understand why. But in later years, I've realized it was probably best for us all. And therapy and ongoing communication with my dad now just lets me, I appreciate it. Like, even though he wasn't there and I had uncles and, other people that were like helpful, important to me, it's nothing like having like when your parents, but when your parents aren't in the best state of mind, it's probably best for everyone. Just, you know, we convenient, like right when I graduated from high school type thing. Like he would kind of pop in and out and come to certain things, but I didn't know the mental state. And, he's, like I said, he's doing much better now, but as a child, you don't understand that. Yeah. And so I felt abandoned. I felt not worthy. Absolutely. I didn't feel valued. But between my therapist, my executive coach, and my pastor, Bishop Joseph Walker III.
Down in Nashville,
So those three individuals have really helped me understand and cope, because even the executive coach, I look at that as like my professional therapist. So she's shout out to Edie, but she definitely helped me, because I would tell her like, oh, my dad, and again, being told by even people growing up, like, family members that, I wasn't going to be nothing, or I wasn't going to make it, you ain't going to make it past this age. You ain't, you out here, you smoking, you didn't, like, and it's like, no, I'm still here. I'm still standing. Yeah. But my dad not being there, it left a huge void for a long time. Yeah. And so now, like I said, we speak every day. He'll text me, good morning. All he's big on emojis now. I don't know what this is, but
I think a lot of older people, they're like getting onto these emojis.
It's deep. And
my dad's not on emojis. He's on all capital letters.
He's yelling at you. No?
It's like, why are you? This does not all need to be in capitals, sir. You gotta get your capital game together. It's too much. It feels like you're screaming at me.
But I'm encouraging even my siblings to reconvene and reconnect, and just like making sure that we're repairing, the past. Like, let's not
y'all
dwell
do
on the
Zoom
past.
calls together, you and your siblings.
We do, and we've done trips and everything together around different birthdays and celebrations. So just family. You only get one family. Like it's just like, and I have a lot of friends that are like family, but my siblings is like, wow, just. And even one of my sisters, my oldest sister, who I had never met until some years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I signed up for Ancestry.com. Not giving y'all a plug, but I'm just giving the story. But
this is how you found out you had a sister?
Well, I had two sisters that I knew about that I was, of course, in touch with, but then I didn't know I had an additional sister.
Okay.
So
this when Daddy was out.
Yeah, this is before me. This is before. She's older, like 10 years older than me.
Wow.
So yeah, I got Ancestry.com. My girlfriend at the time gifted to me for Christmas. And I remember telling my dad, like, oh, I got Ancestry.com. And he was like, man, what you doing that shit? Leave it alone. And I'm like, yo, Dad, like, I'm just going cool. So I do the thing, the mouse swab, and just send it on in. And so one day I get this message and like inbox, and I was like, hold on.
Wow.
She's like, I think I'm your sister. I'm like, so I immediately called my mom, and I was like, Mom, and she was like, yeah. I said, see, black people,
we got to talk.
We got to talk. It was so immediate, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah, she acknowledged it, and so then I called my dad. I said, hey, Dad, I was on Ancestry.com in my inbox, and got a message from, my sister. And he was like, he paused. And my dad goes, man, I told you to leave the Ancestry.com alone. And so he mad at my girlfriend for giving it to me. And I'm like, no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to really flip the script on my girl who gave me the Ancestry.com.
Wow.
Like, yeah, so that was a thing. And so all that to say, they reconnected as a result because they hadn't spoken in probably close to 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
So he didn't know his grandchildren and then great grandchildren. He had never, Yeah. So
let me tell you.
Yeah.
This is somebody's obedience. Your girlfriend was just being obedient buying this gift, and now it's a blessing. She didn't unpacked, uncovered, and turned upside down.
Yeah. So, but she's not with me now, so I thank her for that.
She did what she had to do. She just blew the spot up and left.
Yeah, but I'm grateful because they really. Man, you never know what, but I did not expect to meet.
Wow. That is so, let me tell you, my uncle Donald years ago said, that's why y'all need to start doing a family reunion. Yeah. You're out here sleeping with your cousin and you don't know because you ain't been to no family reunion. Yeah. Listen, and we don't know who our family is out here.
For real.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, wow, that was not expecting you to tell me that. Ancestry.com, 23andMe.
Yes, yeah.
That is so wild.
But we're all close and just welcome her to the fold. And she and I talk, and she lives in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina.
Wow, cool.
And then my youngest sister lives like 20 minutes away from her, so that was cool to reconnect.
Look at God.
Yeah, because she remembered meeting my younger sister when she was a child and came by the house one time. But yeah, like I said, she hadn't been in touch with my dad for almost 2 decades.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, well, and so I asked my dad, I said, is there anything else you want to tell me?
Before I get
anything else?
Gift.
Am I going to get any more inbox alerts? Yeah. And he told me to cancel that Ancestry.com. And he said, I may have a sibling in Germany. And he just got off the phone. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
OMG. Black people, we got to start talking. We got to start communicating with each other. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love how, one, you have such a great attitude about that, but you spoke to something before. You have an executive coach, you have a pastor who you lean on and talk to, but then you have a therapist. And so I think part of what I'm hearing is a real key to your success is surrounding yourself with the right people and having the right mentors in your life.
Absolutely. You have to build your team, because I built so many other teams for so many other people. Yeah. So why would I not build my team to take care of me? On all sides, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole nine. And the executive coach, the therapist, my pastor, my chef.
You be shouting out your chef. Cleveland.
I love Chef Cleveland. Yeah.
Look, he be getting a shout out on the Instagram. Listen.
But these are people that take care of me. My house manager, everybody, I couldn't do it without them. So it's like, but it helps me balance it all.
Yeah.
Jarrell Webb, I'm sure you've seen, who I'll train with sometime, one of my good friends. But again, that you've got to find a way to make it all work. Yeah. And you got to take care of you, prioritize you. Yeah. Because any artist that I sign today, I'm like, oh yeah, we got to get you this, got to get you that. And I'm running down the list and building out their team. But why wouldn't I do that for myself? Yeah. So I've learned to prioritize me, not only on the time wise, but just make sure that I have everything that I need to just be the best version of me possible. And so I don't regret it. I love therapy. Even Dr. Jay Barnett and I are good friends. And we have this whole color.
He was on your show.
Yeah.
He was on your show.
Yeah, he's on the show. And we have this whole thing, this color kind of coding thing where basically you send the color, like red may mean I'm having a not so good day, brown means this, like, and so we'll do check-ins, and so he'll say, hey, and we do the color check-in, and so I've started doing that with a lot of my brothers and friends, and just like, hey, just checking them, because as black men, and for so long it was, we got to be the strong ones. We can't say we weak. We talking about mental health. And it's like, no, we actually, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
We need to make it more normalized, just in our world and our society. And so I just love it. But that's a part of the ongoing maintenance. Like one of my good friends recently lost one of the very first employees that he hired recently, and it impacted him way differently than he could have ever imagined. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? I'm going to gift you some therapy. And he was like, all right, cool. And so I do that a lot of times when people that I'm close with, like, lose someone or something traumatic happens. I gift them therapy. Yeah. I'll literally get this where you can do it as a gift card and just gift like multiple sessions. But yeah, it's just important as a part of that maintenance, because you don't understand the mind. We only get one mind.
Yeah.
And so you got to take care of it in one tempo. And it's just like, again, I'm not perfect, working through it every day, but it's just like I've learned some things that just helped me tremendously. So I'm very vocal on, like, let me share this. Like, you should do this. Yeah. Like, so when I lost my grandparents, I didn't have the tools then, but I've learned in therapy years later, like, this impacted me this way. My dad not being there impacted me this way. Being, being on my own since 15 had its own. It was fun, but it was also like, man, I was on my own. Yeah. And then when you start making money, the rules in the household can change.
Absolutely.
So when you become a breadwinner, like, again, I told you my mom was working 3 jobs, so she was just basically trying to keep the lights on. I was like, okay, I'm starting making all this money from record labels and some money under the table as well. It was just like, man, but I learned a lot. And I'm grateful for it. But my thing is to share that. And encourage others, like, yeah, you can do this too.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you would have given your younger self that would have saved you or carved off some time, giving you a little more freedom?
Enjoy the wins, enjoy the moments. And because I've always been wired I'm always thinking about next. I'm always thinking about, like, oh, we just had a #1 record. Oh, we just sold 10 million. We just won a Grammy. What's next? Yeah, I don't really enjoy the moment. Yeah. I'm so busy, and that's something I regret, because I just like, wow, I've done, even when you were going down the introduction, I'm like, I forgot about that because it's in my rear view. Yeah. So sometimes I've got to embrace and just sit in the moment just a little bit. Yeah. Not to stroke no ego, but just to be like, yo, God, you did it again. Yeah. You did. Yeah. Okay, Luther, we sold this to CNN, OWN, and HBO Max. Like, yeah. But something that was just a conversation. Like, let me sit in that for a minute. Yeah. So I would just say embrace the highs and even to some extent the lows, because I've learned more in the lows and the no's than I have from the yeses. And so just processing that in a way, and it's not rejection of, in a way, sometimes I feel like it's more personal, like when people give me a no in the past, but it's like, I've learned how to internalize and make it so it's like, no, let me just retool this and take it back. And, and that's okay. Yeah. 'Cause everybody's not going to give you a yes, but that would be something I tell myself, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it a little bit more. And balance. Yeah. Balance. That balance, I'm telling you, because it was like work. And as a result, my personal life a lot of times suffered. Yeah. So, yeah.
What's one moment that you breezed by and you look back at it now and you're like, damn, I wish I would have spent a little more time there savoring that?
Ooh. Wow. It's a few. I will say my time in LA, working, I met this guy, Pete Hernandez, who had just got dropped from his label. He signed to Motown Records at the time, and met him the day he got dropped or the day after he got dropped. And fast forward, Pete is Bruno Mars. And so it was like me being in that season of LA, being around Bruno, managing Michael B. Jordan, managing Faith, all these people, it was like, I didn't embrace, that was a moment I probably should have I didn't even know what I had at that moment. Just being
Yeah,
honest. Like
yeah.
I'm friends with Bruno, who's now this global pop star.
Yeah.
Friends with a young Miguel, who was also in a group that got sued. He was trying to get out. So it's like I'm thinking about my circle of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish I would embrace that a little bit more. And I would say, being a part of Destiny's Child years later, reuniting them for the Stellar Awards performance for Michelle's album, that was something I'm so in the I don't think about it. Like Kirk and Lil Baby, that was fun. It was some good moments, but even R&B divas, if I could go back, that's a moment that I wish if I could rewrite history, I probably should have gone a few more seasons and handled things differently.
Okay.
Yeah. So
as we close out, one word you're committed to in this season of your life.
One word?
One word.
My faith.
Faith.
Faith, yeah.
Yeah.
Faith. It's my everything. I can't do anything without it, for real. I just, if you only knew, like I said, you see the highlight reel, and that's great, but it's just my faith was at every stop, every turn. When I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that it was my faith and my belief that it's gonna be okay. God's got it. I got some gray hairs now, but that's just genetics. But it's like, nah, it's really my faith is, faith. Faith is the word.
Faith is the word.
Faith is the word.
Yeah. What are you excited about right now?
I'm excited for everyone to see this Luther documentary.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible. I'm excited about this next chapter with 3 Diamonds and Insignia, this whole new empire that we're building. I'm excited to partner with new creatives.
Yeah.
Across it all, touring, music, TV, film. Yeah, I'm excited about it all, but more collaborations.
Yeah.
And just putting more great music in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
More Auntie Anita's, more Uncle Luther's. We need more of that. We need something that's just going to be some more timeless.
We do.
Some more timeless music. So
yeah.
I'm excited. This new group that I'm kind of instrumental in putting together, The Shy, Selena Johnson and Dave Hollister and Carl Thomas, for kind of one-off projects. So
so they like the new age LSG.
There you go. Oh, it's Lucy Pearl.
Lucy Pearl.
Yeah, so again, putting people, 3 incredible, talented individuals, let's get the music right, let's get everything visually right, and we can roll it out, and we're gonna hit the road. But it's like using my influence for good.
Yeah.
Finishing up Tamar's albums. There's a lot of setting up her production company. She's got a number of shows that she's producing under her umbrella. So I've done probably a half dozen deals for her this year already. So just really just figuring out how to just make sure we all win.
Yeah.
It's a big priority for me going forward.
Well, listen, Vault Empowers Talks might be your new project.
Let's go.
That you're working
Let's
on.
go.
That you're gonna, we're gonna win.
Yeah,
on.
we're gonna win.
I mean, we're gonna see. Well, look, Phil, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. We might be having a collab. Might be on Insignia. Might have a 3 Diamonds on my credits. Might have a 3 Diamonds coming up. Listen. Speak that. Look, Phil, it's been my pleasure. I'm so excited for what you're doing in this new chapter of your life. I know your faith is gonna lead you, because God has always been by your side. Yes. So thank you for joining me today. Vault Empowers Talks, another good one for the books. It's your girl, Brandy Harvey. You guys be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, comment, but share this with somebody who you know needs a little more faith on their journey. I'm your host, Brandy Harvey. Until next time, eat well, give a damn, move your body every single day. Peace.